Hello, history enthusiasts. Welcome to today's episode where we unraveling historical myths. Today, we'll pull back the curtain on some of the most persistent myths in history. From the visibility of the Great Wall of China from space, to the horned helmets of the Vikings, to Columbus's perception of Earth's shape, Napoleon's height, and the Salem witch trials. We'll delve into each of these historical misconceptions, shedding light on the truth. Let's separate fact from fiction and uncover the truth behind these historical myths. Our first myth is a classic one. You might have heard that the Great Wall of China is the only man-made structure visible from space. This popular belief is one that has been passed down through generations, woven into the fabric of our collective understanding of this majestic feat of human engineering. However, let's unravel this thread of historical myth. The Great Wall of China, as grand and extensive as it is not visible from space with the naked eye. This is due to several reasons. Firstly, despite its length, the Great Wall is relatively narrow, roughly the equivalent of a 6-lane highway. This makes it extremely hard to distinguish from space, especially when you consider the vastness of our planet. Secondly, the material used to build the Great Wall is local to its environment, causing it to blend seamlessly into the natural landscape. From the bird's eye view of an astronaut, this further obscures the wall, making it virtually indistinguishable from its surroundings. In fact, astronauts have reported that modern urban areas, with their bright lights and distinct geometric shapes, are often more visible from space than the Great Wall. Highways, airports, and cities light up like a neon canvas against the backdrop of our planet, offering a stark contrast that the Great Wall simply cannot provide. So there you have it. Modern urban areas and highways are often more visible from space than the Great Wall. Next up, let's talk about the iconic image of Vikings wearing horned helmets. This is a myth that has endured for centuries, deeply ingrained in popular culture and shaping our perception of these seafaring warriors. However, history tells us a different tale. Delving into the annals of history and archaeological evidence, there's no concrete proof that Vikings ever donned such headgear. Our image of the horned Viking helmet actually emerged much later, during the 19th century. It was the time when artistic imagination and romanticism ran wild, creating a blend of fact and fiction that continues to shape our understanding of history today. This myth in particular can be traced back to the Wagnerian opera, where costume designers, inspired by a few ancient depictions, added horns to the Viking helmets to emphasize their barbarian, otherworldly nature on stage. This image was then popularized, and over time, it became synonymous with the Viking identity. In reality, Vikings wore more practical and functional headgear. Their helmets were conical, made from hard leather reinforced with wood or metal. They were designed for protection in battle, not for show. Horns, after all, would have been impractical, cumbersome, and a potential hazard in the heat of combat. So, it seems that the horned Viking helmet is more fiction than fact, a product of artistic license rather than historical accuracy. Vikings, in reality, opted for more practical and functional headgear. Now let's set the record straight about Christopher Columbus. One of the most pervasive myths in popular history is the idea that Columbus sailed west from Spain to prove that the Earth was round. But let's unravel the truth here. By the 15th century, the notion of a flat Earth was far from widespread. In fact, scholars, astronomers, and seafarers were well aware of the Earth's round shape, thanks to the ancient Greeks, who had proven this fact more than 1,000 years earlier. Yes, even in the age of Columbus, the Earth's roundness was common knowledge. So why the confusion? Well, it's not so much about the shape of the Earth, but its size. Columbus significantly underestimated the Earth's circumference. He believed that Asia could be quickly reached by sailing westward. His voyage was less about proving the Earth's shape and more about finding a faster trade route to Asia. However, his miscalculations led him to the Americas, creating a monumental moment in human history, albeit unintentionally. The discovery of the New World reshaped the world's geopolitical landscape and marked the beginning of a new era. So, next time you hear that Columbus proved the Earth is round, remember it's more about navigation than geometry. Columbus's story is a testament to the spirit of exploration, but it also serves as a reminder of the importance of accurate calculations. Moving on to another historical figure, Napoleon Bonaparte, famously depicted as short. But was he really? Let's delve into the facts, shall we? Now, when we think of Napoleon, we often picture a rather small man, especially when compared to his towering imperial guard. This image, however, is largely a misconception, a product of historical miscalculations and cultural exaggerations. You see, Napoleon's height was recorded as 5 feet 2 inches in French measurements, which equates to roughly 5 feet 7 inches in modern international units. This height was actually average, even slightly above average for Frenchmen of his era. So, where did the short Napoleon myth come from? Well, it's likely a result of confusion between English and French measurements. When Napoleon died in 1821, his height was recorded as 5 foot 2 in French units, which the English took at face value, not realizing that a French foot was longer than an English one. This simple misunderstanding led to over a century of jokes and misconceptions about Napoleon's height, cementing the image of a petite emperor in our collective memory. Adding to this, it's been suggested that Napoleon's stature seemed small in comparison to his larger-than-life reputation and his imperial guard, which was made up of very tall soldiers. Thus, our perception of Napoleon's height was skewed by his environment and the people around him. In conclusion, the myth of the short Napoleon is nothing more than a case of historical misinterpretation that stuck, perpetuating the Napoleon complex stereotype. So next time you hear the phrase Napoleon complex, remember, it's based on a historical myth that's been debunked. Our next myth takes us to the infamous Salem witch trials. A dark chapter in American history, the trials have been steeped in myth and misconception. One of the most enduring of these myths is the belief that those accused of witchcraft during the trials were burned at the stake. However, this image of fiery execution is not historically accurate. In reality, the Salem witch trials, which took place in the late 17th century, saw the execution of 20 individuals. 19 of these were hanged on what is now known as Gallows Hill, while one, an elderly man named Giles Corey, met a particularly gruesome fate. Accused of witchcraft and refusing to enter a plea, Corey was pressed to death with large stones over a period of 2 days in an attempt to force a confession from him. Yet, not a single accused witch was burned at the stake in Salem. The method of burning was more commonly used in Europe, and it's likely this European tradition that has caused the confusion. In Salem, the accused witches faced hanging, not burning. It's a grim reality that underscores the fear and hysteria that gripped the town. Many of the accused were likely innocent victims of this fear. Their lives ended prematurely due to suspicion and superstition. The reality of the Salem witch trials is much grimmer than the myth. So there you have it. We've journeyed through time, debunking the myths that the Great Wall of China can be seen from space, Vikings wore horned helmets, Christopher Columbus thought the earth was flat, Napoleon Bonaparte was short, and witches during the Salem trials were burned at the stake. History is often more nuanced than the tales we've been told. So let's continue to question, scrutinize, and learn the truth. Keep questioning, keep learning, and see you next time as we unravel more historical myths.